Okay, well, thanks again for everybody coming. We'll get the proceedings started with Athletic Director Tim Weiser.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate your patience these past 20 days. I realize many of you would have liked to have had a lot more information than we were able to give you, and I appreciate your understanding. I also want to thank Dr. Weefall and Coach Schneider for their help as we went through this process. Jim Epps, Bob Krause as well. We had a great team that I think helped us in many ways. You know, we knew when we started that this really wasn't about replacing Coach Schneider, because as I said, that's not possible. But what we wanted to do was first and foremost try and find somebody that was going to be a good fit. And we could define that a lot of ways. We could talk about head coaching experience. We could talk about ties to Kansas State. We could talk about familiarity with the area. And all those things do add to a fit. But I think the one thing that we knew is that our search had to have enough flexibility and enough response to the situation so that as candidates came into focus, we could allow ourselves to consider those people, and that's absolutely what we did. We wanted to find somebody that was going to be a good role model, like Coach Schneider has been, that will continue on with the traditions and the values and the character that Kansas State football is all about. And I believe we found that person. We also wanted to find somebody that was committed to the same excellence that Coach Schneider was. Simply put, we want to win championships. We wouldn't invest in our football program the way we have, both with facilities and personnel, if we didn't want to win championships. So that's absolutely a part of what we wanted to do. And shortly, we will introduce to you the man that will do that for us. But before I do that, I'd like to ask Dr. Weefall to come up, please, and make some remarks.
Well, Tim, thank you very much. I've been under the weather for the past week, and I wasn't at all sure that I could make it here today, but I'll guarantee I was not going to miss this very historic and momentous occasion in the history of Kansas State University. Like Tim, I do want to thank all of you for coming to this press conference today, and I want to thank all of the members of the media for your very excellent and fair coverage of Kansas State athletics, whether it's our men's or women's sports. So thank you for all of your outstanding work, and thank you for coming to this press conference today. Well, this is a very historic day for Kansas State University. You know, we're hiring Ron Prince. Many people in this room, up until the last couple of days, probably had not heard of Ron Prince. I'm sure that many people in this room have hired people over the years. And I think we all know that sometimes when you look to hire somebody, whether it's fields A, B, or C, serendipity takes place. And you end up hiring somebody that was not on your radar screen. And I guess that's in part what America is all about. You know, Martin Luther King said on August 28th of 1963, "I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm convinced that we're hiring somebody who's got the utmost in character. I think we're hiring somebody that's got those core values that K-Staters hold dear, and that Bill Schneider espoused for 17 years. As I've gotten to know Ron Prince, and Bill and I spent 5 hours or 6 hours with Coach Prince just a couple of days ago. And I know that Bob Krause and Jim Epps and Tim Weiser had spent about that same amount of time. And then we're there for the second 5 or 6 hours. And after you meet Coach Prince, and well, you'll have to decide for yourself. I think what you're going to see here is a young coach who's up and coming. I mean, it's all about America, isn't it? It's all about hope. It's all about realizing your dreams, whether it is for your university, your football program, or for the various people that make up that program. Well, I think Ron Prince has the work ethic. I think he has the organizational skills. I think he has a captivating personality. You know, the word of charisma is so often overused. But I think when you see Coach in a few minutes, you will see that, well, he has that attribute. I think he thinks strategically. I think he understands the X's and O's. I think our players now and in the future will respond to Coach Prince, because I think he's a born leader. And then when you think of a fit, he is, after all, from Kansas. He grew up in Junction City. He went to high school there. And I know this is the job that he's dreamed about throughout his whole life. So anytime you hire someone, you know it's always not a science, but an art. You know, back in 1989, Bill Schneider was not on our radar screen. There were 4 or 5 head coaches around America who were on the list. Bill was not on that list. But somehow, some way, probably serendipity, we came across the offensive coordinator at the University of Iowa. And so we appointed him to be our head coach. And guess what? He was pretty good. He achieved at a very high level. You know, for those of you who support the University of Kansas, you remember Roy Williams? He wasn't a head coach. He wasn't the associate head coach. He was an assistant coach that, quite frankly, I'm sure most Jayhawkers had never heard of. Well, we know about him now, don't we? Again, this is all about America. This is about hope. This is about fulfilling our dreams here at K-State. We think we've hired somebody who's got the personality, the coaching and recruiting ability, and the sense of surrounding himself with outstanding people. I think we believe that he can get this job done. And so we're very pleased and very honored that Ron Prince has agreed to become our new head football coach. So I would like to now introduce Bill Schneider. And it's been such an honor and a joy for me to work with a man of integrity and class and commitment to excellence, like Bill Schneider has embodied for many, many years here at Kansas State. You know, he's won a ton of games, but when push comes to shove, what we're going to remember about the 17 years of Bill Schneider is that he was a class act. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our head coach, for a while at least, Bill Schneider. Bill?
Thank you. Well, as you know, and you know exactly what I would say, this is not about Bill Schneider, and we need to get on to Ron Prince, although I will assure you that 17 years ago, it wasn't 3 or 4 head coaches out there. There was a list of 17 that passed up the opportunity to come to Kansas State University. But it's been a joyous time, and it's been a joyous time because I've been fortunate and blessed to be with so many wonderful people. And one of the things that John just mentioned, that I had an opportunity, I don't know if it was 6 hours, but an opportunity last Thursday to spend some time with Ron, and then I just had an opportunity to introduce him to our football team an hour and a half or so ago, and listen to Ron visit with our football team. And in both occasions that I've been around him and listened to him, I've been able to, you know, formulate some thoughts that I think are extremely important for our football program here. You know, I would echo many of the thoughts that Dr. Weefald just expressed, but you know, what I've seen is a man of humility. I've seen a man who has a mission. I've seen a man who is caring. I have seen someone who genuinely believes in the good in people and in young people. I have seen somebody that has a plan. I have seen a gentleman that truly does understand the values that this program has embodied for the past 17 years, and I'm awfully pleased that he has that system in place. You know, he's a man that I'm convinced has a plan, that has a system by which he will guide Kansas State University's football program, and I think he will do that without wavering whatsoever, and I appreciate that a great deal. I listened to him visit with our players. Our players will definitely have a great deal of respect for Ron and his system, and they will, I'm quite certain, will respond to it in a very, very favorable way. So as I said, this is not really about Bill Schneider. This is about the next leader of a tremendous, tremendous program at a tremendous university, guided by some very tremendous people. So please welcome Ron Prince.
Obviously, there's some thanks involved here. Dr. Weefald, Tim Weiser, Bob Kraus, Jim Epps. These gentlemen's integrity and candor is unparalleled with all the many people over the years that I've spoken with. I was absolutely convinced that this was the leadership group that I wanted to be a part of. Special thanks to Coach Bill Schneider, who served as an icon in college football for 17 years. His sincerity and love for the program is felt around the region, and as I've known for the last 14 years in particular, around the nation. Most of all, I want to thank our family, our friends and supporters around the state and around the country. Their sacrifices and encouragement have driven me forward to push me to do these things and accept these challenges. Who would have thought that a small town kid from Kansas would have the fortune to stand on the shoulders of giants? Coaches like Al Groh, Tom Coughlin, Dan Reeves, Bill Arnsparger, and Willie Jeffries have been a great resource that few coaches have had the opportunity to draw from. So I'm really appreciative and thank all of you for coming here today. As far as the philosophy of this program, it's the supreme function of the head coach to set the standards and demand compliance to them. We hold the values of integrity, toughness, and achievement core to our existence. The primary purpose of the head coach, however, is to put the team together. And that's what we're going to do here when this meeting is finished, here in the next several days, to go out and try to put the talent together that's going to help us to achieve our goals. The recruitment and development of our people is a priority. We will support achievement and reinforce success. It's the mission of this organization to become a fast, strong, tough, and disciplined team that consistently competes for championships. We are committed to the total development of our people, not just on the field, but off, mind, body, and spirit. We represent K-State as ambassadors of the game, and we fully recognize and acknowledge our role in the front porch of this university and community. It's our goal to be relentless in our pursuit of the Big 12 North Division title, to educate our people, and to be recognized as the best organization in college football. Our charge is to reinforce the traditions, the excitement, and the electricity created by Coach Schneider and Kansas State. With that, I'd like to open it to some questions.
Questions? Ron, Dewey Terrell. Do you want to give the microphone first?
Dewey Terrell, Junction City. Can you talk about getting started in Junction City and what this means to the people back there? I know there's a lot of friends listening to you right now.
Well, I was formed in Junction City as a person, as a human being, and as a man, obviously by very supportive parents and by a network of people in the community that I think was the most ideal situation that a young person could ever grow up in. The diversity, the strength, the toughness of the people in that community, as well as communities around the state, are why people from this area are known around the region in the same ways that I described the way I want our team to be described.
Scott?
Good afternoon, Ron. Scott Fritch with Parakeet Illustrated Magazine. How you doing? Congratulations. Aside from the region, the location, you know, you're only 20 minutes from where you grew up. What was it about this program that most intrigued you?
Well, you have to understand Coach Schneider's role as the greatest coach perhaps in this century, and the influence that he's had on the game and on the people of this state. This is an extremely proud state, and he's represented that pride and that toughness and the can-do spirit I was here on an unofficial visit for that North Texas game in 1989 as a junior college recruit from Dodge City. And so I've seen it from the very beginning, what this man has meant to this program, to the people around this state. So obviously I did not shy away from, nor was I at any moment remotely concerned about anything regarding following Coach Schneider. It would be impossible. But I wanted to be associated with the program that he had built.
Coach T. Brisnett, Associated Press. What's your timetable for naming a staff, and do you already have anybody in mind that you're planning on naming?
We'll make an announcement about the staff here in the next several days. And this day is more about the program that Coach Schneider has built.
Coach Howard Richmond from the Kansas City Star. I want to ask you about the situation with Coach Schneider, being with him, spending time with him. How did you sell yourself to him? And was it something when you went into, you thought, okay, this is a guy I really need to impress? How did you feel about that?
Well, I knew it would be very hard to try to impress Coach Schneider. So I really didn't try. I was more interested in being myself and just trying to let him know the core values and the things that I've been taught. And that was more of my concern. I know that he's a tremendous man of integrity, and so that was more of what I just wanted to have the opportunity to speak to him and share some ideas.
Hi, Ron. Bruce Steinbrock, WWW Radio in Topeka. Can you discuss kind of the timeline? Did you seek them? Did they seek you? When did you first talk about this job, inquire, kind of go through the process of how you came to be standing here today?
Well, I started thinking about this job when I was about 3 or 4. And so I'll leave all the questions about the process and everything to Mr. Weiser, and as you heard him, the discussion about it. But this was something that obviously had been on my mind a long time, and I didn't think it would happen this year, this soon. So I've been preparing for that day, and I think that's what you heard Dr. Weefald allude to. This is what America's all about, and trying to prepare yourself for the opportunities.
Harold Bouchard with the Hutchinson News. First question, I have two. First question, did Coach Schneider offer you a scholarship on that visit in 1989?
My high school coach is in the audience today, and he will tell you that I wasn't good enough. I might have been tough, but I didn't have very good quickness. But I went to junior college, and then that was, so obviously it was, I was a reclamation project. I was trying to put myself in position, but no.
Second question about your background, Alabama A&M, South Carolina State, then you coach in the Ivy League, then in the ACC. Do you feel like that's really prepared you for where you're at today?
Well, I would say my whole life has prepared me for this day. I would say that my lifelong association with this community and the men that I've mentioned earlier, and the preparation that I've learned at their knee, if you will, and the nuts and bolts that I've learned from those folks, that's what's created the right fit at the right time for me.
Todd Lebo, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. There's been a lot of talk about right now being the 4th minority head coach in college football. What does that mean to you, and how do you feel you were treated during the process? I know you've already talked about Junction City and the diversity there, and just how comfortable you are with being, I guess, number 4 right now.
Well, I'm an African American. I've never had any other affiliation there. So people ask about what it's like to be a black coach. I've never been any other kind. I'm completely aware of the significance of this right now. I'm hopeful that someday this won't be very significant. I hope that we'll move past this moment. But I'll say this emphatically right now, and going from this day forward, that the only color that I hope that will be talked about this program is purple.
Jason. Coach Jason Whitlock with the Kansas City Star. Everybody plots a career course, and I'm just wondering, are you ahead of schedule or in terms of getting a head coaching position, in terms of where you saw yourself at age 36?
I don't know that I had a schedule, to be frank with you. All I wanted to do is prepare, and you know, you hope that someone would recognize that talent someday, and I can't say that I thought it would be this opportunity today or tomorrow. That's all. The focus I've had is just the preparation behind it, and I think the people I've been associated with have encouraged that, and that's what I've tried to focus on.
Coach Matt Walters from Keyman Radio here in Manhattan. In terms of
on the field, offense and defense. Can you give us any idea of what your system is all about and what we'll see?
Well, what I talked about earlier, we're going to play, fast, tough, disciplined football in our style. So as far as the rest of those things, I think, obviously you evaluate your skills of your team. And so your run-to-pass ratios and all the things that you all want me to talk about, we'll know more about those as we go through spring ball and some of those type of things and evaluate exactly how much of each thing we'll put into the basket.
Coach David Smale with Kansas City Sports and Fitness Magazine. How much, as a first-time head coach, how much will you rely on Coach Schneider now as the former head coach? Will you call him often and say, Coach, how do you think I ought to handle this?
Sure. Take this with all humility. Jeff Imelt would not have been successful at GE without the help of Jack Welch and that transition. So I obviously don't compare on that level with Jeff Imelt, but I can see the relationship, and I'm very hopeful that Coach Schneider and I can dialogue continuously, because I can't imagine a better MBA school or doctoral program for someone and advanced training that I could have under his leadership.
Coach James Cito, Cake TV in Wichita, you mentioned recruiting in one of your opening remarks. Talk about, I guess, the hurdle that you have to get over right now because you're coming into it with the recruiting calendar already open after November 27th.
Well, there is no good time to change a coach. There is no good time. Because of the evaluation process is ongoing. We faced a very similar situation. We went to Virginia. We came in January 6th. So I don't think that there is a very good time or an easy time to ever do this. So we're going to hit the ground running. That's my first priority, is to get talent on the team, and then we'll try to develop that talent here in the next coming months.
Coach Kevin Proctor with Angel 95 Christian Radio. Tell us a little bit about, did you call up somebody at K-State and say, hey, I'd like to put my name in the hat, or did you get a call out of the blue? Tell us how it happened.
Well, the whole process behind that, like I said, I was preparing for games, to be frank with you, and the schedule that we had is very demanding in that conference, and I was very challenged by it. And so the preparation I had done when the phone call finally came that they wanted, we wanted to have some dialogue, then I was open to it. But I was firmly entrenched in trying to help my team win, and that's where my thoughts were.
Mark? Ron, Mark Ewing, WIBW-TV in Topeka. How are you? Congratulations. The phrase tough act to follow comes to mind when I think about your hiring today. Could you discuss that, and also when you and Coach Schneider probably had a one-on-one conversation, I'm going to guess, sometime leading up to this hire, discuss how your philosophies maybe differed, or were you guys on the same page in regard to a lot of things?
Well, I'm going to try to hold some of those the conversation that we had in close privacy, but it's one of those things where the values that we hold as people, I think, were the major things that we discussed. And obviously, anytime two football coaches get together, you have an opportunity to exchange ideas. But I just want to emphasize he couldn't be more supportive and terrific. And the first part of your question, can you repeat it one more time?
About being a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Have you thought about?
I don't really see it that way, because I really see myself working. As long as Coach Schneider is willing and able, and I know he is, to be in the community and be a part of the program. I just see myself trying to push forward the program that he built.
Coach, Mark Jansen with the Man at Mercury. Did you get warned, though, that are you sure you want to follow a legend like this at Kansas State? And part two, will you coach with Virginia in the bowl game, or how soon will you be strictly Kansas State?
Well, no, I was absolutely confident I wanted this opportunity. There was no hesitation in my mind. Do I understand the challenges? Sure, of course I do. But I think every coaching job is challenging. I'm still waiting for someone to show one that's not. And as far as the bowl game, we've had some discussions about that. My focus is clearly on trying to recruit for K-State, and if something can be worked out, or maybe in the latter days of preparation, but that's not something that's my focus right now.
Coach, you talked about the leadership team impressing you. What else about the situation, stepping in here in Manhattan and Kansas State, really pushed you toward the job?
Well, the people of Kansas are tough, okay? And the people of Kansas are very proud. And so when I have an opportunity to come back the place where, as I spoke a minute ago when Dewey asked this question, to be my formative years and be associated with folks here that I have the same core values. That's what was important to me, to be frank with you.
I guess outside of Texas, University of Texas right now, there is a lot of parity in the Big 12 Conference right now. Can you talk about that challenge and elevating Kansas State from its current placement into, the upper half of the Big 12 Conference in the coming years?
I like our position. I think we're uniquely positioned to do something special here. And so I feel very confident that the team that we can put together here and the traditions that we're trying to move forward, and I feel confident that we'll be able to do that. I think it's the most challenging of all conferences in the country, and I'm ready to accept them.
Ron, as you go out and recruit, will there be an emphasis on junior college talent right away, or do you know yet, or can you focus totally on high school?
No, I really wouldn't want to discuss that, because I think that the most important thing is to take a look at the roster and take a look at the current recruiting class that's in place and try to go forward with that, and then we will assess after appropriate amount of time where we are and what our needs would be.
Howard? Coach, it's a delicate situation. You talk about getting in your own players as opposed to players that are already here. Can you talk a little bit about that, on how, I guess you don't want to make the other guys feel like they're left behind because you're new and you're going out to get your own guys. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, from the moment I accepted this position, these young people were my team, and I was their coach. And I wanted to make that in no uncertain terms to those young people in there. When we talk today, we'll teach and we'll demand, yet we're going to listen and learn and grow with them. But this is my team, and I'm their coach. There is no point in the future that I'm looking forward to just today in this upcoming season.